Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. Enjoying that it's not 90 degrees again today.
Yeah, yet.
Yet.
Of course, it's only supposed to be, what, 60 or 60 on something on Friday?
Yeah. So we go from 90 and we're going back down to 70s and 60s because it's Ohio. And that's how we roll here.
Fortunately, one of my relatives is getting married in a gazebo outside at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday.
Oh.
Whoa, bad news.
Well, isn't rain on a wedding supposed to be good luck? I thought.
It is, actually. I don't think anybody really believes it, but I think they just say it to make brides feel bad.
Right. Like, it's okay.
That's good luck. You want it to rain. Yeah, okay.
It's Adam says it's going to be 92 in southern New Jersey.
Oh, golly.
So, yeah.
It's almost summer.
Right. And we complain about it every year. It's not a surprise. We know what's coming, and yet we still complain. Just like the snow.
That's exactly right.
Oh, and see like 90 out there with Divine. Hello, ladies. Hello, everybody. Yes, there was the Lisa with coffee. This morning I'm cheating. It's the Coke and coffee. It's actually a pretty good combination.
Coke and coffee together?
Yeah, Coke and coffee, and I get the 0 sugar. And a fun fact.
Sounds that way.
Yeah. And fun fact, the local Coke rep in the Oberlin Elyria area is my old assistant manager for Dollar General, and he happened to be stocking the aisle, and I'm like, dude, you're killing me. Where are the cases? I don't want to buy singles. And he's like, oh man. So it was nice.
I'm curious, is it fizzy or flat?
No, it's fizzy. It's fizzy. It's carbonated. And I'm like, I really shouldn't be drinking it anyway, but guilty pleasure now and then, right?
Right.
Yeah, everybody else is getting the 90s, so I'm glad we're not in the 90s.
That's right there. With the humidity, it may feel like it, but not quite.
Oh, and Lewis likes our theme. Lewis!
Is that actually a picture of you, Lewis?
Now we have to wait for the reply. And a fun fact. So Liz, who is one of our regulars and has been on the Zoom, called yesterday and we chit-chatted, and she's a fan of Lewis. And she's like, I can't wait to see what Lewis looks like. So you got to go. But right off the bat, get a cooler for the store. Yeah, it's actually, I've got the air on going in here because we do have like locally made chocolate and we can't have it melting in here. Hi, Bobby. Lewis says, I'm not sure what the temperature difference is between here and America, but it's a mess between hot and cold weather.
Well, it's London, England, but you guys like rain over there.
And that's Lewis.
Well, for heaven's sakes, why have you been so shy? You're good looking.
So right before we even went live, we had a question from Judith that says, have you had many earthbound spirits that have committed suicide?
If anybody that was Catholic up until about 15, 18 years ago, if you committed suicide, that was an automatic mortal sin. You died, you couldn't have a priest, you couldn't be buried in a Catholic cemetery, nothing. So a lot of people that were, Catholic and killed themselves 18, 20 years ago, they hardly ever crossed over. because they were afraid if they went into the light, they'd go to hell. And of course, the church has changed that now. It's not okay to kill yourself, but you're mentally ill if you kill yourself. So they've gotten around it that way. But yeah, with this pandemic, and I've said it a couple of times now, since this started, I have done virtual funerals for almost 12 or 13 teens, from 14 to 20. And all but one was a girl, one was a guy. And they were mixed. Some of them were so glad they were dead. Others were sorry they killed themselves. But all of those could go into the light now. But a lot of times they'll stick around and then they'll lose their light. And then maybe a grandpa, grandma, brother, sister, mother, father will die after them. And they'll cross over with them. So eventually they do cross over. But there was a big bunch of them up until the church changed that ruling.
Propaganda shenanigans.
Fear. Run by fear.
Oh, Lewis, you should keep the picture because even Amy says you're adorable.
Yes, keep it.
Let's see. So Sandy says,
how Rune wears his hair?
I'll pull up a picture because that boy looks like he fell out of Depeche Mode in his graduation picture. Like
but doesn't Rune's and him look similar or alike?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. It's like, wait a minute, I know who that is.
That looks vaguely familiar. So Sandy says, I was told at one time that there is an antique picture in my home that is bringing misfortune. I have at least 8 and I put them all away. Is that enough or should I get rid of them all? Sounds like antique collecting, maybe.
Yeah, it does. The items may have negative energy on them, and that's what is happening as far as the misfortune goes. I'm sorry to tell you this, but just because you have them boxed up and put away, if they're still under the roof, they're still going to be working against you. So why don't you try getting a black garbage bag and putting sea salt in it. If you can find blessed sea salt, that's even better. And put the pictures in the garbage bag and seal it up and put it in the box and put it someplace. And the sea salt will slow it down. But no, if they're still on the property, they're still going to be affecting you.
OC and Divine says, Lewis, you're adorable.
Got a fan club here. He does.
Well, I know. Okay. So this is Rune on graduation. And I'm like,
nice.
Fell out of Depeche Mode, buddy.
Nice. And seriously, next time Lewis's pictures there, they're similar. Looking.
Yeah, we'll have to put them side by side. Natalie says, good morning, ladies. Almost finished reading When Ghosts Speak. Thank you so much for an amazing book. Learned so much.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Gives you a lot to think about.
Oh, so it says, can spirits smoke? And if they do they actually puff out smoke?
They do. And I've seen them smoking pipes, cigars, cigarettes, a little weed. They all blow out smoke. Yep.
Good morning, Jim. Oops, I clicked it. It won't. Troubles. There we go. And Adam says, when is all the electronic difficulty going to end? Was the full moon last night?
The full moon is today with the lunar eclipse. And it is a full blood moon, flower blood moon. And I hate to tell you, the electronics are going to keep on going because Mercury retrograde starts on the 29th of this month and it goes to the 22nd of June. And we've got the next new moon is also a solar eclipse. So no, it's going to last for another 3 weeks at least, which isn't that good, but
Yeah.
that's the way it is. Yeah.
See, the vine's already on it.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming on Eastern Standard Time, 5:29. Actually, you're going to start feeling it on the 28th. And then it goes until June 22nd, and you're still going to feel it a little bit on the 23rd. But yeah, it's, it only happens 3 times a year, but hopefully with all the stuff with the moons and the eclipses, maybe this one won't be too bad. Just keep your fingers crossed.
So we have Gina joining us, Shelly, and then we had a very cute, where'd it go? Robin says goof morning and then says oops, good morning. The goof morning could work.
Some mornings you're right, it could.
Lisa says buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride with all of the stuff going on. Good to see you. And I think, Marianne, that's one of the few things you and I, when it comes to astrology, I never put a whole lot of anything into it. I'm always the devil's advocate on astrology. Of all things under the metaphysical umbrella.
I know, but of all the things, astrology is the only one that is done with math. There's nothing guessing there. The stars are where they're supposed to be on a certain longitude, latitude, time. So it's a math thing. So of all the things that you do believe in, the one thing that is probably the most real is astrology.
It's like it's not moving backwards. Why the planet doesn't move backwards, guys? Stop it.
Right. But
science says
science has explained it right.
Right, like Laura says, Mercury Gatorade.
Right. Even Earth retrogrades.
Actually, on our channel in a couple of weeks, we're going to do a thing about Mercury retrograde and kind of going both ways on it. And we're going to load up a video that shows like it's where we are versus where Mercury is and who overtakes the other planet, and and the whole like everybody thinks our solar system is sitting this way and everything's going like this, but our solar system's moving at the same time and it's doing this through space. So
exactly.
Like nothing's ever in the same place anyway. So
that's why people, when people look at every morning, they look to see what their how the day is going to go with their astrology. And because everything changes every day, it's never the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, see, now Robin says Mercury's never affected. And I know sometimes the argument is if you were born during a Mercury retrograde, it doesn't affect you as much. I say if you're not paying attention to it, you ain't going to notice it because you're not looking for all the stuff to go wrong.
Yeah, but sometimes when you go, you walk into the kitchen and the ice maker's leaking all over, you go, geez, what else can go wrong today? Oh, yeah, we're in a Mercury retrograde. So blame it on something.
Where I say, now you just challenge the universe to go hold my coffee. I'll show you what else can go wrong. Don't say that out loud.
Right. Oh, boy, you're right. Don't.
So Sue asks, when are you coming back to Goddess Elites?
We don't have anything set up for right now. We'll have to think about it.
Yeah,
we got coming up and the merry-go-round thing. So now that the weather is nicer and people are getting out, I don't know when we'll have to try it again.
Yeah. And I'm working on a few other locations to add in for summer and fall for in-person events outside of Goddess Elite, but waiting on some confirmations. Gina says, the other day I was trying to remember something, and when I spoke out to the spirit of my mom, I immediately got my answer. What is that called?
What it's called is she was visiting that day and you got your answer. Easy. It was just a day she was there and, and she was able to, help you out. Just because, when they visit us, it's a visit. They're not with us 24/7. And so, like I said, you were just lucky she would happen to be there that day.
I just saw it. It was a question about sinus infection. Oh, there we go. Can earthbound spirits cause you to have a sinus infection?
They cannot touch you and give you anything. But because of the energy drain that they are on you, and whatever you're taking for your infection isn't going to work well with them there. So, no, they're not giving you a sinus infection, but they are causing it not to be over as fast as it could.
Let's see. Good morning. My daughter died almost 3 years ago. I tell her I miss her every day. Does it keep her from crossing over? It's a question from Mary.
You know, Mary, I can't answer that because I don't know what's going on in your house. Have you or anybody had a good dream of her? If you've had a dream of her, that means she's where she's supposed to be, and she can still hear you. She can still visit you when she's gone into the light. But have you or her father or a sibling or an aunt, has somebody had a dream of her? After 3 years, I would think so. And so sometimes that'll give you your answer if somebody's crossed over or not. Yeah, like people, relatives can make somebody not go into the light. And unfortunately, parents really do that a lot when children die. And so it's hard. But I really can't give you an answer, Mary.
So Kimberly says, I started watching The Ghost Whisperer, and it's such a good show. Is the part about the dark spirits true? Blocking the light and trying to persuade spirits to stay earthbound. Oh, the eye rolls have already started.
How many times? It was on for 5 years, Ghost Whisperer, and there were only 4 sentences each Friday night that were true. The rest was all Hollywoodized. I swear, if a quarter of the stuff happened to me that happened to Jennifer Love Hewitt on that show, I'd have a heart attack. No, it is not true at all. Demons. I wish that word could just be eliminated. No, not true at all.
There are so many of on the TV paranormal shows where everything's a demon, and I'm like, how are you guys so fancy that you find demons everywhere you go? Why are you so special?
Even Hitler, when he died, if he didn't cross over, he did heinous, horrible things, but he still wasn't a demon. He just did really bad things. You know, in my world or my way of thinking, a demon is hooked and got horns and a tail. And I don't think too many people see that running around their house. Lord, I hope
not. Let's see. Divine asks that I have and wear one of your quincies, the earrings. Do I need, or does she need to clean it periodically?
Yeah, I would. The only thing with any of the Quincy jewelry is that you need to clean it with a jeweler's cloth. You cannot put it in any kind of liquid jewelry cleaner because it softens the whatever is holding the seed in place. So yeah, absolutely. Just don't do anything in liquid.
So let's see. There's another question. Here we go. Adam says, if I'm wearing a quincy, then I have an earthbound spirit here. Are they still draining my energy? She continues smudging as well.
They're going to still have some effect on you, but not as bad as if they were standing next to you. Wearing the charm keeps them 3.5, 4 feet away, which makes a difference. I just cleaned a house this week. Well, last week, and she bought charms because the ghost that was in her house told me that her mother's house had a ghost in it, and her mother was having surgery in a short amount of time, and she didn't want the ghost in there, which I don't blame her, to come home and recuperate after having surgery. So she gave each one of the, she got charms and gave one to her mother and father who live in the house. And here her father has been having terrible headaches for the past week or 3 weeks. So does he put on the charm? Soon as the mother put on the charm, the stomach issue stopped and the headache stopped. They can't get close to you. I wish by wearing one they would leave, but that's not always the case.
Let's see. So there was a question about negative energy around a person. Actually, I was told that I won't be able to see my parents in a full body apparition because I won't be able to handle it, or I'm not ready to see them like that. Is that true? And then I'll find where my other question went.
Are you asking if you walk into your living room, your mother or your father is going to be standing there? I'm not sure where you're coming with this. It is true when people cross over, they will come in dreams, and you will see them totally full in a dream. You will be able to talk to them, but spouses or parents, especially if you were especially close with them, they're afraid if they come in a dream, it's going to upset you. So maybe they'll come to a sibling or a cousin or somebody else. But yeah, no, that has happened. But I'm referring to dreams. I don't think there's very many people that are going to walk into a room and see a ghost standing there.
Okay, so Mary Jo says, I'm so glad that I found you here. I have your books, As Alive, So Dead, and When Ghosts Speak, and they're great. Helpful with things I've seen or felt. I feel like there's a negative at something in my house around my husband and I. It feels like we have problems because of it.
Well, if you've got a ghost in the house, yeah, I do more houses with divorce because of ghosts than anything else. Even if you're not physically fighting, mentally, I mean, rolling your eyes, stomping out of the room, just huffing and puffing, look at the energy you put out. So, or maybe there be a curse on one of you or on the house or the property. The only way I could tell would be with the phone call or come on Zoom. And we can find out right away what's going on if you come on that. The next one is full, right?
Yeah, we still have a decent amount of spaces for the one later in the month.
21st.
Yeah, so there's only 6 so far that have been booked.
Okay, so there's room on the 21st. Good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Lewis, when he was asking about smoking, he says that he doesn't smoke now, but when he passes over, he's going to become Cruella de Vil. And then says, this may be quite dark, but I'm a little bit looking forward to dying so my dead relatives can get to watch this fashionista icon walking towards them in the light. Is that bad of me?
I would put your dreams on hold for a little while and,
right.
Try to get through daily living before you think about that. But no, you can do that. And like I said, I quit smoking many years ago. But I swear, when I die, that's going to be the first thing I do is have a cigarette.
So Karen says, what is the chance of an actual demon coming into a home? So crazy how it's dramatized in all the ghost shows out there.
Like I said before, a demon coming into your house, I would say, would be 1 in a million chances. A regular ghost walking into your house, no, that's 1 in 2. But a demon, no. If you've got a portal in your house, you might have some really negative spirits that come out of that are earthbound. They're still not demons. I've never seen a demon come out of a portal either.
No. I'm going to have to look up some statistics because it seems to be, and this is just me guessing, no real research done on this, but why is it demons appear more in people's houses that have a Christian faith?
Because their religion is God and the devil. God is good, the devil is bad, the devil is a demon. So there you go. And that's exactly. But again, I'm sure everybody that is listening to this has known or still know somebody that is such a negative person and so cranky, crabby, just miserable when you're around them. What's to stop somebody when this person dies going, oh, he's such a demon, but he's really not. So it's no, it's like I said, it's a word I wish that could just be eradicated. I don't like that word at all.
I mean, I know other areas of the country, other places have different types of entities. Like over in the Middle East, you're going to find the jinn, but they're still not demons. So it's kind of one of those, not a tulupa. Tulupa's slightly different, but egregore, something. But it's like a thought form that comes into being because there's enough belief behind it. So the power of thought.
That's right.
So, but again, no research, thinking out loud, inquiring.
Yeah.
But yeah, not every
home. A lot of the trolls and those type of entities, they're alive, and not so much adults, but with a troll or a worry or something like that. When kids see them, they actually see them with red eyes, which is not unusual. And that's not a demon either. So, like I said, in all the years that I've been doing this, 2 or 3 that I could say were probably straight from hell and never from the white light at all. That's what I would consider a demon.
So Patty says, I've had a dream bag for 3 months, but still not remembering my dreams.
Okay. A lot of times, again, if you are a restless sleeper, or if you work a strange shift and you don't have regular times to sleep, the other thing that could be affecting it too is if you are on certain prescription drugs can retard your dreams. Try keeping a paper and pencil next to your bed, and when you wake up to turn over, go to the bathroom, whatever, just write whatever the last word is that you were thinking. A lot of people have those little tape recorders by the bed that are voice activated. So as soon as, as you're rolling over, go, oh, I just dreamt of Grandpa driving in his old car. Just say something. And you'd be surprised when you listen to that or look at that word you wrote down, how much will flash back. So try that. And again, if you're on meds, that could have something to do with it.
So kind of circling back to the demon thing, Raylene says, hi, Marianne, my mom died 5 months ago. I'm still grieving for her. And when I cry for her, my burnout light turns on. And then after a while, I tell her, it's okay, Mom, you can turn the light out. Then the light goes out. Is that my mom or a demon?
I'm going to guess that it's neither. It's definitely not a demon. If your mother is earthbound, there would be a chance that could be something that she would do. But she hasn't really been dead long enough for you to have an actual dream of her yet. Usually it takes up to 6 months before you get the first one. And sometimes it can take up to 2 years. If your mother or anybody that dies of a long lingering illness, they've been in hospice for a while or they've been sick for a long time, a lot of times those patients cross right over. They're never stuck. They're tired. They need to go. But again, I would have no way of knowing if it was your mother or not without a call or come on Zoom.
Mm-hmm. So on the moms, Tina says, my mom and I have had the chance to have you come to our home. My mom passed not too long after. Is there anything I can do to see her in dreams or know she is near?
The mugwort, that definitely will help you remember your dreams, because again, everybody dreams, but it's whether you remember them or not. And you didn't say, I'm sorry to hear about your mom. If she has died and it's been over 6 months, then somebody should start getting a dream about her.
And this is Marianne's website where you can get dream bags, quinseeds, because there was a question a little up. I'm trying to catch up to everything about where to get the quinseeds. So you can order them on Marianne's website. If you're going to be in the area and join us at the Merry-Go-Round Museum in June, you can get them there in person. Oh, fun question from Sink Farm. Have you ever had an earthbound spirit actually try to mess with you before they knew that you could actually see them?
When I was younger, yes. Some good things come with age, and not so much anymore. Few good things, believe me, but that's one of the things that especially try to intimidate me when I was 9, 10, 20, 21, especially if it was an older person. But yeah, it has happened, and I just give them a dirty look. I mean, after all, I'm alive and they're dead. Who cares?
Let's see. So Lewis says, do you ever forget that you have this ability? Like when you're out and about and see a ghost, you have to remind yourself that you're the only one who can see them?
It's nature. That's just the way I am now. And again, I see them everywhere I go. I just don't let them know that I can see them. And because that's what I've always done, I don't have to even think about it. It's like you don't have to think how you're chewing. When you put a piece of food in your mouth, you chew. If you thought about chewing, you'd bite your tongue. So, and it's pretty much the same thing. I don't want to have, I couldn't have, it would have been miserable having to think to myself every time I go out, don't look, I don't want to see anybody.
Or did you see the shirt on that person? And
right, exactly.
That person.
That's right. And when I was making Tara come with me, my daughter, when she didn't want to do this, that's exactly how I knew she was seeing them, because we'd get in the car to come home and I'd go, oh my gosh, that lady that was in that house, that blouse and that jewelry she had on was terrible, meaning the ghost. And she would go, no, her hair looked okay. I like that jewelry. So I knew she was seeing them, but I had to let her know that it was okay that she could see them. Oh, and there was a question. Apparently, on the YouTube last time, I did, last week it was about animals, and there was a lady that showed dogs, and I did her question, and I mentioned the fact that people that show dogs or have horses that they race or anything 4-H, a lot of people will keep a quinseed on them so that nobody disturbs them when they're in the show ring or on a racetrack. And this lady, I think, was a little indignant because she says, now my dogs have to have a quinseed? No, they do not. I was talking specifically about people that show animals, not your everyday run-of-the-mill beautiful little pet that you have at home. No, there are people that feel more protected to have their pet have a seat on their collar when they go outside. So in case something is out there, that it will leave their dog alone. Not necessary. But I was specifically referring to people that show their animals, not just regular pet owners.
So Adam has another question. Does the cleansing ceremony to remove negative energy have to be done in my house, or can it be done outside or in another location?
No, it can be done anywhere that you have the items that you need and somebody standing behind you. It can be done outside, at their house, at your house. I've done it. People will come in from out of state. I've done it in hotel rooms, which is crazy to me when you can do it yourself. But they don't trust themselves, and so they drive all the way in and stay at a hotel. But no, you can do it anywhere. It doesn't have to be done in one. Now, if your house has negative energy or curse on it, obviously you have to do the house. You can't do it from afar. But no, a person can be anywhere.
So Lewis asked, could Tara always see them, or did it develop with age?
I knew that she could see them. I mean, when she was little and she had her imaginary horse, that wasn't a real horse. But when I actually knew that she could see them when she was a sophomore in high school, because Ted and I didn't know how to tell the girls what I even did. I mean, it took me 2 years to tell Ted what I could do after we were married. So, nothing like keeping him in the dark. And yeah, exactly.
Parents' prerogative, man.
There you go. But yeah, she was a sophomore in high school. And when we finally sat the girls down and told them, unfortunately, the Ghostbuster movie was already out, the first one. And so there, my 19-year-old daughter is sitting there. She was home from boot camp. And she goes, "Oh my God, my mother's a Ghostbuster," which I had never even heard before that movie came out. So, yeah, it's no. And Amber can't do it and wishes she can, and Tara can't do it and wishes she didn't. You know how that goes.
And that, I'm sure, makes for a lot of sibling rivalry in the younger years, maybe even still.
Oh, I've heard Princess and the Chosen One and the Special One. And, we just saw one of the girls this past weekend, and she told her dad, "Well, I'm the favorite one, but Amber's the favorite adopted one." What are you going to
do? Let's see. So Gina says, is it true that low vibrational spirits can pretend to be your loved ones?
Especially true if you're using a Ouija board. Yes, they can pretend that they are relatives. People that do pendulums sometimes will get false answers that way. Yeah, that is definitely possible.
And then Sink asked, should we stop smudging before a Zoom meeting if we want to know if we have a ghost?
It's probably not a bad idea. At least 3 or 4 days before you come onto a Zoom. They're probably going to be there anyway if it's not something you've been doing on a regular basis. But I'll probably be able to get more information from them if you don't. However, but with the moons and the next eclipse and everything, the next 3 weeks they should have a lot of energy.
And Sandra says, have you ever wished that you did not have this ability?
As an example, at 1:30 this morning and 3:30 this morning, the phone in my office was just ringing like crazy, and it woke me up. Yeah, there are some days I think no, or I walk in the office and see 6 legal pads filled with names of people I have to call back. It's like, yeah, I want to walk out and shut the door. So there are days that, yeah, I'm not happy about it.
So Lewis says we should bring Tara onto the live. And now I want to say we bring Tara on when we have Lewis on.
There you go. There you go. As Tara has told me many times when I ask her to help or take care of a couple people for me, that I keep getting thrown in my face. I have my day job. But she is going to be with me at the
merry-go-round
museum.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, she's coming out for that. So people that want to see her or people that she's done work for, you can come out and say hi to her there. One of these Wednesdays when she isn't working, I'll have to have her come out and be on with us.
And that'll be fun because was it Ted's birthday, I think, the last time I saw her? And I didn't recognize her because she was dressed so different. I'm like, who was this person saying hi to me?
Right. Yeah.
That was social here.
Yeah, she was at the wine thing the one year too, but I don't know if that was before or after Ted's birthday. She came out. I think it was after.
Was it after?
After that, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, how often should we smudge? Would it be different if you have an Earthbound versus when you don't have an Earthbound?
Yeah, if you live in an apartment or a condo where there's a lot of families living under a common roof, for sure I would smudge every try to do it on a new moon and a full moon. They're 2 weeks apart. That's the easiest way to remember. But if you have something in your house, I would try to smudge every 10 to 11 days, because they really start coming out of it around the 10th or the 11th day. They start getting the energy back again. So that would be my suggestion.
It's funny when people come in and they say, oh, I'm like, have you smudged? Yeah. Well, how long ago? Oh, like 6 months ago. And I'm like, do you only ever vacuum your carpet every 6 months? Like, cleanse the energy, raise it. Like, this is energy cleansing.
Right. And don't forget, smudging or saging, as people like to say, helps with negative energy too. If there's negative energy in the house, I mean, it's Native Americans that use it for religious things and so much more than we use it for. But it's a wonderful tool to use if you need it.
And this is an interesting question. Jenna says, if a home is remodeled, would the Earthbound be able to still use the opening where the doors used to be, or stairs that are actually no longer there? Love your videos and thank you for the information.
I have run into Earthbound spirits in homes, and obviously older homes, where back steps have been taken out, where the ghost will complain, well, there used to be there used to be a set of steps here, and they're not here now. And who was it? There was somebody that came on. I don't know if it was, I think it was Zoom. Or was it this, that he was in that antique house and the ghost kept wanting to know where the steps were to the cellar? Lee, New York.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't that him? Isn't that what he did as a hobby?
Yeah.
And that antique house that he was at, he did one of the Zooms from there, and that woman was upset about it. Now, it's interesting. When I come into a house, sometimes if somebody has removed an outside door, you can't tell from inside the house, but you can still tell on the outside of the house because they haven't replaced the siding or taken it out. Yes, that kind of door has got to be covered. A seat has to be put on there. It would have to be done from the outside, obviously, not the inside. But if the door is partially there somewhere, then yeah, that has to be covered with the seat.
One of the few times I've ever seen a shadow person was in my mom's house, and like it walked in through the bedroom door and through the wall. And I'm like, but my grandparents, when they bought it, they had added on. So now there's a den and everything on the other side. And I'm like, well,
yeah, to be a door there at some point. Yeah.
Right. A mess of stuff going on. Let's see. So there was the comment from Kara about full moon. I believe today's the full moon, blood moon. My cats are acting crazy.
You're absolutely right.
Sandra has said before how moon phases affect her more than Mercury retrograde.
Especially if your astrology sign is a water sign. The moon is especially going to affect you more. Pisces, Cancer, and what's the third one?
Water sign, Scorpio.
Scorpio. So those three signs, you're going to be affected more by any phase of the moon.
See, and I'm a fire with earth rising. I have more earth in my chart, a little bit of water, a little bit. The moon phases start affecting my sleep after doing the shaman training over and over and over. And I'm laying there and I'm like, why can't I sleep? And I'm like, wait a minute.
You opened everything up, and that's what happens when you when you expand your brain, that's what happens. You start getting new things,
Right. I'm like, damn it.
all kinds of new things, right? And see, I'm Pisces, but I have Leo rising. I wouldn't be able to go into houses and do this if I didn't have Leo rising. I sit in the corner and cry all day. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, it's funny because like one of my exes, he was an Aries as well, but Cancer rising. And I'm like, where were you when these Aries traits were handed out? Like, why are you so crying? He's like, you're
Right.
such a mean ass. And I'm like, I'm logical and I problem solve and we get
Right. And that's why. And Ted is double Earth, Capricorn and Virgo. So he's really grounded. Yeah. Well, one of us have to be. So,
Right. Yeah, Virgo rising. And what's hilarious is I'm Aries. My son's father is Scorpio. Our son is Aries, Scorpio rising.
oh, there you go. And our girls are Aquarius with Taurus rising and a Taurus with Aquarius rising.
Mm-hmm.
So they are total opposites.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, my boy, here we go. He's such a quiet little introvert. Let's see. So this is a good double-ended question. Have you ever met a paranormal investigation group that was so terrible and so off with their investigations you had to laugh? Lewis's follow-up says, like, I feel whenever you join a paranormal investigation or group, there is always someone that acts like they are the most powerful psychic in the work and who can talk to the dead. Really big ego. The quiet head shake.
Well, he just really knows which buttons to push, doesn't he?
He asks such great questions.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's put it this way. Up until the last time I changed the voicemail on my phone, it said, if you've had any other paranormal group come in and they didn't do the job, call them back and tell them to come out and do it right. I'm not fixing their mess. Because I would like to see how many paranormal groups have somebody in the group that one can see them, can talk to them, can make the white light, can release them, and then protect the house so it never happens again. You find that, and I can give those people all kinds of work if somebody in the group could actually do that.
Actually take care of the family and not just come in, stir up the pot, and then go, we'll call you when we listen to the tape. And then,
right.
Yeah, we're pretty sure you have something, but good luck with that.
Yeah. And again, I do it during daylight. I don't do it at night. I don't know what the purpose of doing it at night is. I don't sit in your house and make you leave with EVPs and special film cameras. I see them. So, and I don't think with me it's an ego thing as much as aggravation, because a lot of these people just make it worse for the houses that they go to. They, like you say, stirred the pot and the ghosts thought they were leaving and these people didn't do a blessed thing. And all they're doing now is making that family's life way more miserable. Or, as my little wish would be, the ghost goes home with them.
Be nice.
A little wish. Not a big wish, just a little wish.
Right. Let's see. There was a question from a woman with about a little one. I have to go back and find it because there's so much conversation going on. Let's see. It's the young lady, her name was Angela. Here it is. Says, hi, I'm sorry my English is not very good, but I have a 4-month baby. And last time I saged my house, he started looking all around and crying. Could that be some earthbound spirit around? You actually have really good English.
Very good English, yes.
Probably better than I speak at times.
I would think that the baby started crying because personally, I think the baby was too young to be in the house with you smudging at 4 months. I mean, you're smoking that house up. It has to be smoked up really well. Actually, what do you call it, Melissa?
I tell
An
people
80,
to smoke it up like an 80s bar.
right. Oh, and I really don't think kids 3 or 4 years and younger should actually be in a house. It's like you don't want to smoke cigarettes around your baby. Smoke is smoke. So that would be my guess of why the baby was crying, because the smoke was either bothering his throat or his eyes.
Mhm. And they can't really get away from it when they're that little.
That's right.
Let's see. Tina says, I feel weird asking this, but do our loved ones hear what we say around them? For example, if something negative is said, does that upset them?
Yeah, it can. Especially if you're talking about them in a bad way. They don't always like that. They're more forgiving and understanding if they're there in the house and they're just visiting from the light. After all, we're human. And we don't have that ability of not having to worry about being human once you go to the light. So they're a little bit more forgiving in that way. But earthbound spirits, oh yeah, no, they can get really upset over things for sure.
They still tend to have the same personality they had as alive. So,
Exactly the same.
they haven't processed anything yet. They're still
on their same loop of being not a nice person, right?
So Lewis says, remember going to, a couple of years ago, I went to go and see a medium, and halfway through the session, I started seeing the outlines of people walking around while she was giving messages. Was that really me? The outline, do you mean like the aura? Or like, were you seeing them slightly ahead in movement?
Right. You may have seen the psychic that you saw. If she was really reputable and a good psychic, you may have actually picked up on her spirit guides that were helping her do her readings, right? So yeah, I think you probably saw what you saw. Because auras are usually on people, the different colors, but seeing somebody walking around, no, I bet you saw spirit guides, which is really cool. A lot of people can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Gina says, sometimes I like to tease my friend and ask him if he sees that person sitting over there and there's really nobody there.
I've done that more than once or twice to somebody.
Poor Ted.
No, actually, it wasn't him. It wasn't him. No. I did find that I think it's interesting, and I probably, well, yeah, I will. Like if I'm doing a TV report or doing a filming for something that they want to do on TV, what I will do sometimes, especially if the interviewer is a little snarky, because even they got the job to interview me and go Ghostbust a house, but they don't believe one little bit of it. And it's like, okay, you think you would send a reporter that at least had some interest in it instead of me trying to convince this person what I'm doing, I'm really doing. So sometimes it's really cool. The person standing in front of me, and what I'll do, I'll look right past them and I'll stare like at the wall behind them. And I'm not looking at them, but I'm looking right past them. And they'll go, what? It's like,
oh, don't worry about it.
Never mind, you don't really believe, so you don't have to know. No, tell me what. Yeah, sometimes it works.
Oh, now you're a believer. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, now, because it's standing next to you. I did this with one man that worked for one of the TV stations, and he didn't believe at all. And he was so funny. He said, so this ghost is standing where? I says, well, right now, Ben, he's standing right next to you. And he said, standing next to me. And I said, yes, sir. We were down in the basement, a really creepy basement, filming this. And he says, feet, get me out of here now. And he ran up the steps and was standing out in the street. It was like, okay.
So yeah, Lewis was saying that the outline of the head of them moving around the stage she was on, like if she says someone was there, someone would show up. Sometimes head and shoulders, then sometimes full body.
Yeah, well, I think it was somebody that must have had a lot of energy. And don't forget, at any given time, an adult is supposed to have 14 to 16 spirit guides around them. So, and they vary, size, shape, male, female. So who knows? Like I said, I think she just must have had some really good spirit guides around her that she could pull them in like that. That's really nice that you got to see that.
Stephanie has an interesting question. It says, many times
how do you teach your kids how to spell their name? Oh my word! I thought Witowski was a mouthful.
Says many times I smell funeral flowers very strongly, and always within a day or two, someone would tell me someone they know passed away. Is this a positive or negative thing?
Sometimes it's what your ability is. Sometimes when people smell funeral flowers, they think, oh, that just smelled the same way it smelled when I went to see grandma. And then they look at it, oh, today's the day grandma died. So if it's people that you know, that was probably somebody that came to see you as soon as they died. If not, that's just your ability. That's what you can do. Some people have good dream interpretation. They can tell what's happening. Everybody has, believe it or not, everybody has some ability to do something. It's whether you pay attention to it or not.
And a lot of people associate death with negative, right? Because it's a grief, it's a loss. And, instead of worrying about if it's negative, maybe turn it into a thought process that now you kind of have a fair warning. So to kind of mentally and emotionally prepare yourself to be a support system for somebody that because they're going to need your help. And, so don't look at it as, oh my God, somebody's dying. Look at it as you are strong enough to help the people. And now you have a warning, that you're going to have to step into this role and be available for that.
And not only that, a lot of times people will get a visit from a grandparent or a parent that just died, and the call comes in the morning, oh, grandma died last night. Well, you already knew it. And again, you got the heads up so that you could help somebody.
Mm-hmm. So I think for our last questions, and maybe we'll go into some spirit guides next time, because there's a few questions now about spirit guides and were they people who are alive. But because it's come up twice here, and I think they're new people, they're asking, like, what do earthbound spirits look like to you? And how could you, in a crowd of people, could you tell the difference between the earthbound and the living people?
Earthbound spirits look like regular people to me. They are hair color, eye color, the clothes they have on. But in a crowd of people, if I squinted, I could still see through them. They're not solid. So that's how I can tell if they don't float, they don't buzz around like the movies or TV. They just normal stuff, like normal people, like they did when they were alive.
Right. So since it's actually we're a minute away from 11 o'clock, it went by quick. So there's Marianne's website. If you need to order Quincy jewelry, smudge sticks, dream pillows, sea salt soap, all the things. Shipping seems to be kind of catching back up, so things aren't as lost in the mail as much anymore.
Yeah, they seem to be moving better now, yes.
If you would like to join us on Zoom, here is the link to join us. You can also find that on our website. Go to goddesselite.com, click up at the top, events, haunted events, and it will pop up there. Otherwise, you can join us at the Merry-Go-Round Museum in Sandusky. So get to ghost hunt with the dead horses on sticks, those creepy little things. And we'll have a bunch of fun. I might be outside while y'all have fun inside the building.
And we'll bring you along anyway.
You know, those creep me out more than if you were to tell me like Ted Bundy standing over there and I'm like, I'll fight Ted Bundy. I ain't gonna go buy those horses. It's just a thing.
Everybody has their hang up.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes no difference.
But we're here every Wednesday, 10 a.m. So weekly shenanigans, bring your coffee, bring your tea, bring your canned coffee with Coke if you want that as well. And join us with your questions. But I think we'll touch on some of the spirit guide questions because some of those were coming up at the end as we were talking there. And it can turn into a pretty lengthy topic. And
yeah, exactly.
My next live is waiting right outside the door. Okay. So, you know, if you're not already on the Goddess Elite YouTube, hop on over, because if you're a fan of Lenormand cards and divination, there's a new deck coming out with one of my good readers, and we're going to discuss his deck.
Nice.
So, but yeah, join us next week.
Okay, sounds good. Everybody have a good week. And this is the holiday weekend. Be safe and have a nice weekend for yourselves.
Yeah, stay cool. It's getting hot out there. I'll stay inside the air conditioning. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.